Shine your light, shine, shine, shine your light, shine, shine, shine your. Hello, this is Nancy Maddox with Shine Your Light Radio Ministry on WYTV7, the Christian Broadcasting Network in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm so excited to have a special guest today to do an interview with. You're going to be really, really excited, so you really want to tune in. Miss Beverly Vercher has has published many books, has events all over the country, and I'm so excited for her to share her testimony with us and what she does. And she is from Charleston? No, Spartanburg, South Carolina. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Miss Beverly, you're an author from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Can you kind of tell us about yourself and give us a little bit about your testimony?
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me. I am an author. I live in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm originally from Lynn, Massachusetts. On July 1st, I'll celebrate 17 years of marriage. I have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. My writing venture, I guess I can say, started back in 2009. I published my first book. It was just testing the waters. I really didn't know the type of writer I was at the time. But I took a little time off because I realized that that book I wrote really wasn't who I was. And in 2015, I published the book that I really consider my first book, which is called Good Heart So the Easy is Broken. It's an inspirational romance novel. It's very deep. It goes into a lot of subjects that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I just published the sequel, which is Shattered But Not Broken. And it kind of finishes the story. I had no intentions of doing part 2, but my fans were so mad because I left them on a cliffhanger. They made me do it. So I just published that in May. And I'm very excited about everything that I've done so far in the last 2 years of publishing Good Heart So the Easy is Broken.
Now, what was the name of the first book? Good Hearts?
Good Hearts Are the Easiest Broken.
Okay.
And then part 2 is Shattered But Not Broken.
What led to you writing these books? Was it part your real life story or real life experience that led you to write the books?
It's not a real life story. It is fictional, but some of the subjects in the book are subjects that I've personally dealt with and subjects that people that I know have dealt with. And I wanted to write about it without telling my story, of course, and not telling someone else's, but still make it effective. So I just prayed about it. It took me like 4 years to get it written and get it to where I want it to be, the story that I wanted. And a lot of people relate to it because the subjects are so real. I have stories of course, falling in love, which everybody has done at least once in their life. Having your heart broken. And if you're falling in love, you know what it feels like to have your heart broken. But I also teach you about prayer and God and his promise on your life and how so many things that happen in your life, some of the things that are negative are still part of his plan to get you to where you need to be. I discuss abuse, mental illness, family secrets, just a lot of subjects that we deal with. A lot of us deal with on a day-to-day basis, but without telling an actual real story, I wrote it creatively.
Well, that's an excellent way to help people. I know that people are going to be real excited, especially the viewers of this radio show. This radio show is called Shine Your Light Radio Ministry, and it is on WYTV7 in Charlotte. And what I do is it's not about me. It's about the people that I have on my show that share their testimony, their books, and their stories in order to help other people. And what I'm trying to do is to let you shine your light so we can take the darkness out of everyone that's around us, because there's so much negativity now, so much of just everything going on. Everything you mentioned, abuse, mentally, verbally, physically, everything. And it all needs to be talked about. And what better way to talk about that than a story
a story like good hearts are the easiest broken and shattered but not broken, because that way, you don't have to have direct stories in there, but it can be from everyone's experiences, and that's what people really want to see. They want to read about that. They want to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and that they can make it through that. So I'm really a good person to talk about that with, because I can get into books. I've always gotten into books. I'm a avid reader myself, and I've been doing that since I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. I've been a bookworm. So when I think I escape from whatever is troubling me and get my strength through books and through God, of course. So anyway, tell me a little bit about all this stuff that's happening with you all over the country. I
Right.
follow you and I see you're doing everything everywhere. It's some of your own tours as well as a lot of other things that you're doing.
Yes. Upon the release of Good Hearts Are the Easiest Broken, the more people that read it really wanted to get to know me, the person behind the story, and my own personal story. So I started getting asked to do speaking engagements all over the country. And I really dedicated 2016 to that. And I still have a few speaking engagements this year that I've already said that I would do, but I decided to start my own book tour. Some days I think that's a good idea. Some days I think it's not. But I am excited about it. It's a lot of hard work putting it together, but I have already booked several stops. It'll start July 15th here in Spartanburg. I wanted to start at home for the people that know me and that have purchased my book locally. And we'll do Gaffney. It was just a few miles up the road, but I still wanted to stop in Gaffney because I have a lot of family there. I've booked Charlotte, North Carolina, Lynn, Massachusetts, my original home, Montgomery, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. I have several. I've gotten requested to come to a lot of different places, and I'm just trying to add them all and get it all put together. So my original idea was to finish the rest of the year out touring, but it looks like I'm gonna finish this year out and start 2018 touring as well. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to actually meet some of the people that have purchased my book and read it, that feel like they know me just simply because they have the books, and because I'm a people person. I love to talk to people. And I'm going to make the events. They're not going to be just a regular book signing. You get to come out, you get to talk. I'm having guest speakers that's going to empower you and help you get to the next level and get over whatever you've had to overcome in life as well. So it's not just going to be a come in, buy a book and leave, after I sign it. It's really going to be an empowering event, regardless of which one you come to.
I love that. I love that that you're including other people in that. Our radio station is in Charlotte. So when you come to Charlotte, I'm going to watch that date real closely, although I'm in Little Rock. But I can probably get some of our other broadcasters to come and maybe do a live show there if we could possibly arrange that. That would be cool.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, by then your show will be out and broadcasted. What we do is, we take the broadcast and we post them and load them up. And so it airs a few weeks after this, but that's very exciting because we might be able to do a little bit of collaboration and tie that in, and that would be great.
That would be amazing.
And then if we have any other broadcasters in any other cities, I'd love for them to come and maybe try to do something live too. Also, the name of your tour is Cupcakes, Conversations, and a Book Signing Tour. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about that? I just love that name. I think it's very catchy, very exciting. I think that alone will probably bring people out that really don't know you. So
right, I'm all about themes. I always theme everything, but I felt like everyone loves cupcakes. I haven't met a person yet that doesn't. And I know we're going to have conversations. Like I said, I'm going to have a guest speaker. I'm going to take the time and speak myself and try to meet every single person that comes in the door. We'll have a cupcake and some conversation, and I'll sign your books. I really don't even know how I came up with it, but it sounded so good when I said it. I was like, you know what? That's going to be the theme of my tour. And so far, it's amazing. I have our local Sam's Club who's sponsoring the cupcakes for the first 3 stops, which is Spartanburg, Gaffney, and Charlotte. So that's amazing. I'm trying to find in my other areas places that can kind of help, donate the cupcakes and things like that. So it's exciting, and I'm so ready to get started. I'm nervous, but it's a nervous excitement, I guess.
Well, it's such an awesome title of an event, Cupcakes, Conversations, and a Book Signing Tour. It just is so light and so beautiful. People really do. They like that kind of stuff because once they get into the event and they start getting involved, it gets really deep
Yes.
with the things that you're discussing and things that come out, and it really touches people's hearts. You know, at anything like this where you have a story like you have and the dynamic speakers that you're going to have there, they're going to be talking about some pretty deep stuff that's going to hit people really deep in the heart. And so it's nice to have something light that they're coming to and then everyone can, share their stories and cry a little bit, and then they can have a cupcakes. That's awesome. To make them laugh again.
Exactly.
Anyway, I wanted to share a little bit more. I want you to share a little bit more about your story, if you don't mind, and just kind of, I've heard it before because I was at a conference for the African American Authors Literacy campaign in Anderson over there in South Carolina, and I heard it before, and I've been impressed with it ever since I've heard it. So I'm happy that we could connect up and let you share a little bit more, if you don't mind.
Sure. I guess I'll start with I come from a broken home, broken meaning I was taken away from my mother at a really young age. She was a teen mom who didn't have a mom. Her mother died when she was about 7 or 8 years old. So by the time she became a parent, she really didn't know how to be a parent. So myself, my sister, and my brother were actually taken from her by the Department of Social Services. Then I was placed with family. That's how I ended up in Lynn, Massachusetts. I was placed with family there. I was adopted and I was raised there, but I lived a lot of my life feeling like I didn't belong anywhere. Because I went from living somewhere that I knew all my life to going up there. So it started me on a trail of low self-esteem. So by the time I got to my teenage years, I had, I think, made every mistake that you could make in life. So I started writing as a hobby and as a way of getting away from my surroundings, I guess, and getting a lot of my feelings out because I didn't feel comfortable speaking to anyone. But during that process of looking for love and acceptance, I ended up in a very bad relationship where I was physically abused. I ended up with 2 children out of that relationship by the time I was the age of 19, but I stayed in that relationship a really long time, and I was physically abused by him, and it put me in a deep depression. I tried to kill myself. I went through a lot. Finally, when I got out of that relationship, I still wasn't healed, but I thought I was. I tried to move on, get another relationship where I didn't get physically abused, but I got verbally and emotionally abused. And it was, again, it's something I had to deal with for years before I was able to pick myself up. Another child came out of that relationship. So at the age of 24, I find myself with 3 children. And I was afraid. I was scared because the father of my third one decided, I don't want anything to do with you or the child. So not only do I have 3 children, I have one that I'm solely responsible for by myself. And I think that's when my life started changing because it wasn't her fault. It was not my daughter's fault. So I had went back to school because I dropped out of school. When you have kids at a young age, your main focus is taking care of them. So I had quit school to go to work, but I went back to school and I just slowly started, building my life back up. I was still writing as a habit, had no idea that I would be an author, but I was just writing as something to do. Like I said, I went back to school, I got a better job, and I met my husband. Fast forward 17 years later, we're still together. All the children are grown. But in my life, I've gone through, again, a lot of the subjects in my book, which is the abuse, a lot of the family secrets, because there's a lot of things that happened with my mother that I still don't know. My sister and brother that were with me when we were taken when I was 6, I haven't seen since then. It's been a long, long time. I've dealt with the mental illness. I've dealt with depression and things like that. So again, the subjects that I write about is not my story, but those are my subjects. And I wanted people to get an insight of that. Like one of my characters commit suicide. And although I wasn't successful, I wanted to bring that out. I wanted people to know that these things are real. And especially in the African American community, things like mental illness and suicide, they're not talked about. And it makes you think it's non-existent. But when I was doing the research, when I was writing my book, our numbers are just as high as any other race, but we don't talk about it. And I didn't know that. So again, when I wrote this book, I wanted it to be meaningful. When I started it, I prayed and I was like, God, I'm a hopeless romantic. I love romance novels. I love it. I mean, I read them by anyone because I love them. So I wanted to focus on that, but I also wanted to write an inspiring book that someone can read and not only learn about loving your mate and the people in your life, but the love of God and his promise on your life, and learning to love yourself and love others the way he does. So my journey has been a hard one. I look back at it every day and sometimes I still have to pinch myself like, is this me? Am I really doing all these things? Me, the person that was never supposed to amount to anything, or the person that lived most of her life unwanted. Now I have people calling, well, I need you here and I need you there. You know, it's so amazing. And I tell people all the time, I am proof of God's miracles. And my life is proof of that. And I guess that kind of sums up my story.
Well, that is one fantastic story, and I love the way you wrote it in a fiction book, so you could really bring everything out in your own way and characterize it. And that was really good therapy for you. But not only that, the people that read the book, they're going to relate to it because they're just going to know. I mean, everyone's gone through something like that somehow. And also the book tour is going to really bring it out too. And I'm so excited for you and for your success. You're a beautiful person, and you should feel very, very proud because God is speaking through you. He's using you as a mouthpiece. And how awesome is that? You never thought you could do it. Heck, I never thought I could do this show. Right. I mean, I was a CEO of a financial institution for 25 years. I gave speeches all the time. But I never one time ever thought I could do anything like this until I was asked. And now it's like, you know, I can make one post and I'll get 10 or 15 people replying, wanting me to interview them. And I'm like, is this really me? I mean, can I really do this? And, you know, God just gives us some talent that we don't really realize until we're pushed to do something. So I'm really proud of you, and I think it's awesome what you've done, and I'm happy that God has made you a mouthpiece. We don't have very much time left. It's only a 30-minute interview, but I wanted you to talk about any of your other businesses that you have. I see that you've got some type of a gift business that you do, and there are other things that you do too. Would you mind sharing a little bit of that with us? Give yourself a plug.
Yeah, I do a little bit of everything, but my name on Instagram is Virtuous Gifts because at one time I did have an online jewelry boutique, but I held on to that name because I just felt like the Lord had given me so many gifts, and my last name is Vercher. It just fit, Virtuous Gifts. But I do have my own line of eyelashes. They're 100% mink eyelashes that I have. I hand chose each and every one of them. And I even installed them, which again, that wasn't a part of my plan either, but I have some friends like, I'll buy them, but I can't put them on. So I have to sell them and put them on too. But yeah, that's just another part of my brand and what I do. I'm hoping to get involved in many other things in the future. I would love to get into some publishing myself. There are a lot of people that I know that can write circles around me and some of the biggest authors out there. They just need someone to kind of hold their hand and help them along the way. So I do offer services for that now, writing consultations. I do offer that. It's not a full-time thing for me right now because I'm so focused on my thing. I still feel like I'm a baby because I've only been doing this for about 2 years. So I still feel like I'm a baby. So I don't focus a lot on helping others as much as I would like to. But in the future, I know that I'll do that. I'll probably kind of pull back on so much writing and help others. but I do have another book coming out soon. I'm trying to get it out somewhere around October, November, and it's called Have You Seen My Mama? And that also is a subject that is going to be fictional, but another subject of my life as well. It's going to talk about there was a time in my life that my mom left myself, my sister, and my brother home alone. That's how we ended up being taken. She basically abandoned us. So I'm going to tell that story in a fictional way. And this is probably the most emotional book I've ever written, because although I'm writing it fictionally, it's still something that is true to me. And it's hard. It's a process, but I'm gonna get it done because I know this is something that I've skipped over all my life, and the Lord is like, you got to tell this story. I've tried to ignore it. I've tried to put it on the back burner and work on 1,000 other things, and He's like, you're not gonna move forward until you write this book. So right now, as I'm preparing for the tour, I'm writing that book.
Wow. Do you suppose that eventually you'll find your brothers and sisters maybe, or is there any hope of that?
I'm praying that I do on this journey, traveling all over the country. I'm hoping that one day we end up in the same city and it happens. The thing about the adoption system, especially in South Carolina, because it all happened in South Carolina, the records are still forever. And
Wow.
if they don't know that they're adopted, and the adoptive parents do not have to tell you that you're adopted. So if
Yeah.
they don't know that they're adopted, they don't know that they have a sister out here that is looking for them. And they were
Wow.
younger than me. I was 6. So my brother was somewhere around 2, 1, 2, and my sister was only a few months old. So my brother's name is Sean, and my sister's name is Shanador, and I have looked for them just about all my life. That was the reason I moved back to South Carolina at the age of 17. I came for supposedly a summer to try to see if I could get some answers and find out anything, and I never did.
Well, see, there's a lot of people that were put in the adoption system, and like you say, if they don't know they're adopted, they don't really know they have
Mm-mm.
siblings. So that's a tough one now. That's a
It
tough
is.
one.
It
So
is.
that you would think they would be old enough now where their adoptive parents would tell them, but sometimes they don't. So I'll be praying for you on that, hoping that can happen too. The last thing I'd like for you to do, Miss Beverly, if you would, is just give us your contact information, how you want people to get a hold of you, and also, do you have a copy of the book, the good hearts are the easiest broken there, so you can hold it up and let us see it?
Sure. I got to turn around a second.
Thank you. I didn't mean to surprise you with that.
No, that's okay.
I just think the cover, yeah, see, that's good. Look at that.
And
And
I
of
tried
course,
to
you don't
keep
have,
it simple.
huh?
I said I tried to keep the cover simple. I don't know if you could see it. It's a hand holding a heart that's broken, and it has some scars and stuff on it. And when I saw that, I didn't feel the need to add anything else to the cover except the title. So it's really simple, but
Absolutely, yes. Okay, well, if you'll kind of give us your contact information, I would
sure.
appreciate that. I'm sure all my listeners want to know. Again, we're broadcasting on WYTV7 in Charlotte, and this is Shine Your Light Radio Ministry. And I have a special guest, Miss Beverly Vercher, today, and she's going to share her contact information with us now. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, my name is Beverly N. Vercher. Last name is spelled V as in Victor, Ercher. My website is www.beverlynvercheronline.com. And you can email me at contact at the at sign, sorry, beverlynvercheronline.com. I'm on Facebook, author Beverly N. Vercher, Instagram, Virtuous Gifts, which is VERCHUUGIFTS. And on Twitter, I am VN Vercher. And you can contact me through any of those avenues. I don't share my phone number a lot. You can imagine the craziness that I get. They used to be on my business cards, and I had to change my number because I was getting so many calls, and I was just like, okay, we're not going to share the phone number. Just email me, and we'll go from there. So, and you can contact me through my website, BeverlyVercherOnline.com.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day today to help me do the interview. I appreciate it. And everybody go take a look at her stuff. And she's a beautiful, lovely person with wonderful books and getting ready to have her Cupcakes conversations and a book signing tour. So thank you very much, Miss Beverly. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.